Hi, I'm Rob.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie.
I don't like that.
Yeah. And you're watching?
KR compares.
That's right. And today we've got something that I think is kind of exciting. What's that? Coffee.
But not just any coffee.
Instant coffee.
Instant.
The least interesting kinds of the coffees.
Is it, or is it just the most convenient?
I mean, yes, I suppose it's technically the most convenient. I'm actually curious. So there's a lot of ways to have coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of knowledge thrown at you this time around. But what? There's instant, you've got French press, regular pot coffee, pour overs, and that's excluding any kind of espresso method of making that, mocha pots.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the two ways that we go to making our coffee is French press and also the mocha pot, which isn't quite an espresso, and the difference being the amount of pressure that gets put through your espresso when you're actually making it. So a mocha pot will put through about 2 pounds or 2 psi of water through your coffee
Apparatus.
your apparatus when you're making it, but an espresso machine actually does closer to 8 pounds. So that's why you get that much more concentration when you're having an espresso. Fun little facts. Anyway,
Cool.
Please let us know, like, subscribe, and then let us know down below how you prefer your coffee, and if you do actually have instant. We really never ever have instant.
So we're going into this completely blind.
This is true.
So
And there are a lot of coffees. There's a lot of niche coffees, and we've talked to a few friends who have said, like, oh, you should try this one, you should try this one, you should try that one. And I agree with it for the most part, but I also think that it's important that we get out of the way, I think, the major brands.
well, yeah, I mean the ones that you will most often see in the local grocery store.
Yes.
So
I know my grandparents, when they would make the drip coffee in the pot, which they would have like 2 pots in the morning, which is nuts. That's how I'm convinced my grandmother's still alive at 94 years old. It's all the coffee she consumes. But I think for us it was Folgers.
I can't remember from my family. I think my mom usually gravitated towards Folgers too.
But Maxwell House was not uncommon.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's
today,
usually those two.
right. So today we're looking at Folgers. We've got the Nescafe, Starbucks Via, Cafe Bustello, which I've never had any variety of, and the Maxwell House. So these are the oldest, I think, some of the oldest, some of the most generic, whatever you want to consider brands, but these are giants of the coffee industry. They've been around forever. There you go. But it's all instant.
Yes.
And what makes instant coffee different? Do you know?
Isn't it some kind of? It's like a coffee powder that can dissolve.
Yeah, so it's actually super interesting. So coffee is generally made all the same way. Now, I'm talking about this because I used to sling coffee for several years when I was going through college. So I know a lot about coffee. I've read a couple books about coffee, believe it or not. And the coffee itself is super interesting. We've had it for thousands of years. And there's actually this fantastic story from at least 1,000 years ago, post-ancient battle. There was a story of this guy who, after his army had won the fight, they were traveling through and they were finding all this bag of what was essentially coffee beans, but at the time they didn't know what it was. So, assuming that it was animal feed and that they didn't need it, they started burning huge piles of it. And this one guy went up to some of the generals leading this and said, whoa, 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 if you don't know what to do with it, give it to me. I will find something to do with this. This is coffee. And it's huge. It is one of the most traded commodities on the planet, like just behind oil. Coffee is consumed, it's insane. It's like 80 million cups or something like a day or some crazy number.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, coffee is an insane, it's a huge, huge commodity. Anyway, and as Italians, I greatly love coffee.
I was going to say, we punctuate our day with it.
We do punctuate our day with it. I do a little bit of a faux pas, and sometimes I have a cappuccino afternoon just because I like it.
No, it's against.
I know.
It's against the code. You're supposed to stop at 11.
I know. I do like cappuccinos occasionally. But before we go to the gym, we'll usually do a bit of espresso, or sometimes at the end of the day, we'll have a bit of espresso. I say espresso, but again, we're using it from a mocha pot, which is not technically espresso if you really want to get precious about it. But I like coffee. Katie will make a pot of coffee in the morning. Well, by pot, I mean a French press.
Yeah.
And then some days she leaves me enough to have a full cup of coffee. Some days she doesn't. Sometimes I got to end up with half a cup. And I don't really want to make a whole pot for myself. So I'll end up with just half a cup of coffee.
Reading me to the internet.
I mean, so it goes. But I had something else I was going to say about that. And I also don't mind decaf. I like coffee for the taste. I like it in things. I like...
What's the point of decaf? Unless you need it for medical reasons or if, like, you're...
I think...
I just don't get it.
Look, the pick me up from coffee is good. It's nice, but I mean, it doesn't really affect me that way. Also, I guess full disclosure, I probably have undiagnosed ADD. We're almost certain. So coffee actually kind of relaxes me as opposed to perks me up like it does most people. Another fun fact, just about coffee in general before, and Katie's going to tell us more about the specifics of coffee themselves, is it's actually probably better not to wake up and then immediately have your coffee. Right? Because your body's still, for about an hour and a half after you wake up, your body's still in the process of waking up. And what this does is coffee or caffeine specifically helps inhibit the hormone that starts to make you tired throughout the day. So it's actually better for your body to wake up more fully, about an hour and a half, and then take your cup of coffee, because it'll actually stave off that sleepiness for actually a much longer period of time. So if by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock you start crashing, maybe you're having your coffee too early. Or maybe you're having too much sugar throughout the day. So also cut back on that. How do you like your coffee? Let us know down below. I take mine black, just like you.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
I guess we will
jump right into this. Yeah. So what order are we taking this in?
I guess I want to do Folgers versus Maxwell House, just because we said that those are kind of the common ones in our households growing up. Probably segue to Nescafe and Cafe Bustello, and then round out everything with
the
Via.
All right. And so we're going to make this. They all have instructions very specifically about how to make this, and it's going to be 1 teaspoon of instant coffee for every 6 ounces of hot or boiling water. The only one that doesn't have that instruction is this. This comes in the little packets you'll see later. But we're going to follow something similar, 6 ounces for one of these packets, which should work out to be about a teaspoon. Obviously, if you like it stronger, weaker, change it as appropriate. But I feel like 6 ounces per 1 teaspoon is probably good, actually. We like our coffee a little on the strong side as well.
Yeah.
And then I will have more fun facts for you generally about coffee. And Katie, of course, will fill you in on the details of each brand as we go along. Ready to start?
Yeah.
Excellent. We're going to see if we get twitchy by the end of this. All right, so we have just boiled our water, and you're supposed to put these, according to both of these instructions, you put the instant coffee in first.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like I should have gotten us something to set this on.
Oh.
That's my bad. Whatever. I guess I'll just set it on this thing. We don't really like this anyway. Okay, man, that coffee smells so...
Immediately when I was putting in and measuring out, first off, I almost put a tablespoon.
You did almost put a tablespoon. That's 3 times as much, yeah.
The Maxwell House is very dry looking, and it's like a light brown color. And the Folgers has like a weird
sparkle.
Like there's a sparkle or a luminescence to some of the bits. I don't know if that's like sugar. Cause I was trying to see where it just says 100% pure coffee. It doesn't say anything about there being anything else, but there's like a shine to some of the granules.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see.
Although I will say the granules themselves,
they look bigger in the Folgers.
They definitely look bigger in the Folgers. The Maxwell House just kind of looks more like dirt to me.
It does, yeah.
It's a little bit lighter color.
Like dirt, or like kind of like how cocoa powder can sometimes look.
Yeah. But I actually like the smell of the Folgers dry better than the Maxwell House dry. Maybe that'll translate to this. That smells a little chemically to me, right? Strange.
Like there's a bitterness that comes off of the Maxwell House.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but they're both in plastic packaging.
Yeah, I mean, the packaging looks nice, but I still prefer the glass packaging generally across the board for a lot of reasons. Plastic's terrible for yourself and the environment, and glass is easily recyclable, and also you can just collect glass and just do fun stuff with it, like
other things. Oh, that's still
stored.
Really
yeah, it's gonna be really hot. So what do we know about Maxwell House?
Maxwell House is actually currently owned by Kraft Heinz, and then
like the tomato like the ketchup. Okay.
So I couldn't find a lot about their history on the website. It's pretty much just blank of, hey, we sell coffee, and that's it. So it doesn't have a lot about the brand identity too much.
I think when a company gets old enough or large enough, it kind of loses its identity.
You would think that, but Folgers had like a full-on like history, like timeline with pictures and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
But so Maxwell House has been around since 1892. Was founded by, I think, like a greengrocer.
Oh, okay.
Of some sort. And
Guy
then,
named Maxwell.
No, his name was Joel Owlery Cheek.
Joel Owlery Cheek?
Yeah, sorry, that was a mouthful. Joel
I don't think he's going to be
Owlery
annoyed that you mispronounced
Cheek.
his name because he's dead.
So it's named Maxwell House because Maxwell House Hotel was like one of the first like institutions that bought his stuff. So he's like, oh, let's.
I'll just name it after that.
I guess.
That's a weird
they
naming. Okay.
So they supposedly were one of the highest selling coffee brands in the U.S. until like the late 80s.
Wait.
1980s. Sorry, 1980s.
Well, because for a thing that's been around, well, you said 1892, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the better part of 80 years, this thing has been.
So, and supposedly the instant coffee that we're trying is, basically been around since like 1945. So
that's a really
instant
old
coffee
No.
So instant coffee in general was very, very popular during like World War II because it was part of like rations and just the convenience and things of that nature. And then even post World War, it was something that was just
something
popular.
Really unfortunate. So I've had a number of friends who were military and were deployed, and so you get all kinds of crazy stuff in your rations, and there's like some kind of coffee concentrate thing that they get now in their rations. And one of the ways that they would stay awake during really hard patrols, you're going to love this, is they would take some of that, I think it's coffee, somebody here in the comments can correct me about it, but one of the strategy was to take this caffeine concentrate and dab it like around your waterline to keep yourself awake. And it would just like rush your bloodstream. Because when you're doing patrols in dangerous areas for 18 to 24 hours.
Hurt?
I'm sure it helps. That and pepper, actually. Like, not black pepper, but like spicy pepper to keep you awake.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
that sounds unfortunate.
Yeah. Hopefully your job.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I hope your job doesn't require you to be awake that hard. Anyway.
What else? 1950 is when 15 is when they started using the slogan "Good to the last drop." So that's why they still have like that little drop of coffee on their little logo.
Yeah, that's a good slogan.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Okay.
So while these still are a little bit too hot to probably drink.
Folgers.
So Folgers has been around since like the mid 1800s. Is this like James?
So Folgers is a little bit older than Maxwell House.
Yes. So basically, James A. Folger, two of his brothers, they wound up going from Nantucket, moving to San Francisco, because like I think their house or something burned down. So it's basically like they were just going out west because they're like, we need a new life, we need to find livelihood. So they wound up
in the 1800s they decided to move 3,000 miles. Yeah. This is pre-plane.
Well, yeah, but this is when there were gold mines and that was like a big thing.
And in a way, they found a better gold mine in coffee.
Yeah. So while his brothers were, I guess, mining for gold, James was like 14 years old or wherever he started working for this coffee and like spice mill. 9 years later, he went up like buying the folks out, and then it became his company. And it's kind of been that way ever since. So,
nice. So Folger still runs it?
No, I think it's owned by someone else now. It's now owned as of 2008 by the Smuckers company, J.M. Smucker Company family.
Yeah, the Smuckers Jam.
I think so. So it's probably still its own thing.
That's an episode that would be worth doing. It's like a jam or jelly kind of episode or preserves episode. Because the only thing I know about Smuckers is on. Was it?
The 100-year-old.
The 100-year-old, the Good Morning America Centurion. Am I saying that? No, Centurions were the Roman Empire. Yes. That's not what I'm thinking of. Old people. My grandmother will be there in 6 years. Maybe.
Yeah. 1984 is when they first started using the slogan, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Which I distinctly remember most of the Folgers commercials, at least the ones that I'd seen. Mm-hmm. Folgers had a really,
good marketing. And then they even now are trying to keep up with the time. So as of 2022, they have this hashtag, what is it? Damn right, it's Folgers is what they have. So they have a good marketing team.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay.
Their version of instant coffee has been around since 1958. And that is about it.
Okay. So let's give this a sniff. So this is the Maxwell.
Does it still smell like dirt?
It actually smells something different to me. It smells
what
like.
Is that?
This is gonna sound really weird. It smells wet. No, I mean, but
like mildewy?
No, well, I don't know about mildewy, but it smells like if you just maybe
what?
like a towel that's wet and you just smell a wet towel. Is that weird? That's probably weird to say.
It's a little maybe musky.
Okay.
Maybe.
This doesn't smell particularly strong. Folgers, I like to smell.
It smells like something almost like fermented bread.
Yeah, there's something strange to the way the Maxwell smells, but the Folgers, I like the smell of that, both dry and in the and in that.
No, it's just
Maxwell House. Here we go.
We're starting with that.
Oh man, 1 teaspoon for
6
ounces is just not enough for my taste. It tastes like. No, it's very light. Oh, she does not like this. Oh.
I don't know what that. I wish I was better at
tasting,
communicating what I'm tasting.
There's something.
It's like something that's like a really bad. There's a weird aftertaste. So when you drink it itself, it's first off, it is not strong enough. I agree with that, but it's like it's almost as if you had the most watered down diner coffee, but then they forgot that there were suds, like soap suds that were still in the mug. So there's a chemically.
This is a very specific memory that's being pulled up.
Yeah, but there's a chemically taste that is not supposed to be there, if that makes sense.
No, there's a weird hint of an aftertaste that yeah. No, but you're right. Diner coffee is a good way to phrase that.
I like diner. It's some of them are pretty good.
Sometimes it's good. Now for the Folgers.
Okay.
Do you need a palate cleanser?
Yeah, I do, because it's just sticking to my tongue.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong one. And we're not going to drink all these because I'll be vibrating by the end of this.
That's fair.
Huh. Wow. I think it's worse. It's like cardboard for me.
It tastes like cardboard?
It's like this has a weird chemical sudsy kind of thing going on.
This has a blandness, but it could be probably just from our own taste that it's too watered down. Take another sip.
Interesting. Got that teaspoon. We're gonna try something.
That one, the big one.
All right, we're seeing if we make this stronger, if this is gonna taste any better. All right, give that a stir.
Okay. Let's got it on the side. That's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere? Oh, I spilled
on the side.
Oh. All right, here we go. Does it taste any different?
Probably not.
Oh, God. Wow. Wow, that's so much worse. All right, your turn. Swap it.
Oh.
I was really rooting for Folgers, I'm not going to lie. I was hoping for the memory.
Maybe there is probably just...
Wow.
No, because also I think instant coffee just tastes...
worse.
Different.
Okay, so you guys just missed me sip the Folgers.
Is that the Folgers? Now I'm...
No, you have the Maxwell, because I sipped it, then you had that, and then I swapped. So this is the Folgers.
Okay.
So the Folgers I just sipped with adding the extra teaspoon, and good God, that is awful. My God, that...
Do you think it would be salvageable if... So both of these on the back of the packaging, they say you can mix in either hot water or you can mix in milk. Do you think that they could be saved by having the sweetness and creaminess of a milk?
First, I would love to try mixing it with milk just to see if that does anything different to it in general.
Yeah.
But, it strikes me that if you like these, or if this is your go-to, I assume you're adding a little more than a little bit of sugar. And that might save it, might change it.
They are quite bitter.
A bitter is a generous term.
Well, it's
for whatever the
weird.
hell this
So,
is.
the Folgers still... It's not even bad. It's just unpleasant.
Oh, that's so bad.
It's kind of like... It's kind of like if you brewed some coffee And you just let it sit there for maybe a couple days or something, and then you're like, hey.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
And then you reheat it in the microwave, but like too much. It's like that kind of weird. Not that I've done that, but I just imagine that it would be something similar where it's just overall very unpleasant.
All right, just so I remember, because this is going to be hard to forget. These are not. Sometimes things are forgettable, and we're like, that doesn't really leave an impact on us. Neither of these is forgettable. Both of these is terrible.
I'm actually like turning myself.
I'm ranking Maxwell above Folgers. How do you feel about that? Do you disagree? Do you want to try again?
No, I don't really want to try again.
They're both bad.
They're both. Yeah.
Yes.
I think Maxwell House is probably a little bit more salvageable, even though it has that terrible chemical taste.
Yeah, but there's something about this, and then it got this. Whatever's in this got much more dramatic.
Yeah.
After you added that second teaspoon, and that was just an experiment. That's not. We're still going to make the rest of these with 1 teaspoon and 6 ounces.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well,
we do this, so you don't have to.
This is true, man. I was rooting for Folgers, man. I really was like, yeah, the classic stuff is so good. That's why. Okay. Fun fact number, I don't know what, because maybe I'll call this 1 or 2. Who knows? Where is coffee most commonly harvested? Between what 2 regions known as what region? What 2 lines on the planet, imaginary lines?
You mean like latitude?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would think probably
between
South
what 2 latitudes?
America.
Yes, but between what 2 latitudes?
Oh, I don't know.
The Tropics of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer.
Ah, that makes sense.
And in that, we call it the coffee belt, because that's where most coffee is made. Fun fact number 1. More fun facts about coffee to follow as we prepare our next couple cups, which is going to be Cafe Bustello and Nescafe.
Correct.
Excellent. I'm going to go wash out my mouth. I have been unable to fully remove the flavor of the previous 2 coffees from my tongue.
Not to be dramatic, but it's
no, it's not dramatic. That's just a statement. It's just I cannot fully. Okay, so far I feel like all these coffees have looked the same, at least in the cup, for the most part. Kind of a medium brown color. I prefer it a little bit darker, but that's fine. So up now we have Nescafe and Cafe Bustello. Now I was rooting for Folgers last time, and they disappointed. So this time I'm actually rooting for Cafe Bustello, which I've never had, but I've heard is good. And I think Cafe Bustello is one that comes in like that
the
block,
yeah.
Right? Which I've heard you can, when you're doing it with the classic coffee, that you can actually use like a cheesecloth to kind of like brew it. That's one of the methods to brew it.
That makes sense.
Which actually is supposed to make it a lot better. I don't know how that works. I've never had it, but it's a little bit different in that way. But Nescafe.
It also kind of looks like dirt.
Kind of looks like dirt.
Like
a similar color to your.
Yeah, which I don't know.
I don't know if that comes across.
It's not going to come
After
across.
color correction, it might not even look the same.
It's a warm.
It's a warm
it's
reddish.
It's like a warm reddish brown.
Yeah, it smells. I don't know. I don't know what that smells like to me. Slightly chemically for some reason. So
yeah,
instant coffee is technically brewed. Unlike regular coffee, it's actually brewed a little bit before it becomes instant coffee.
Which makes it so it's kind of like dehydrated, right?
It's literally dehydrated coffee.
Yeah.
So they take the beans and they go through the entire process basically of making the coffee, and then usually, depending on the brand, Nescafe has actually 2 ways if they're making Nescafe Gold, or if they're doing their standard brand. They either add ice crystals to it, freeze it, and then dehydrate it, or they use hot steam and then they bake it, and then that evaporates the water off of it.
Which makes it, but it depending on how much you're baking, wouldn't that also increase like bitterness?
Possibly. And then we're going to get into fun facts about the differences between the 2 most common types of coffee beans, which are, of course, Arabica and Robusta, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, the Cafe Bustello.
It's a slightly darker color.
Slightly darker color, and it smells cleaner. It smells more like coffee.
Yeah, the granules themselves are also smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll affect taste. Who knows?
They all seem, there's nothing... In all these coffees so far, there's no lumps, there's no crystals hanging around. It melts basically instantly. So a quick stir and you're good to go. Okay, what do we know about Nescafe?
Oh, Nescafe is owned by Nestle, not a surprise there. Nestle has been around for over 150 years. Nescafe, I think also like this is purely for instant coffee. It's been around since 1938.
Do they not have a regular coffee?
Huh?
You mean the purely instant coffee?
Just the purely
Oh,
instant
gotcha.
coffee.
Okay.
So basically, it was super popular in wartime. So it was included in the World War II rations that U.S. soldiers received. And then it also even went to space in the Apollo 11 mission in 1969.
Huh. And that's why they had all those problems. Because they were having terrible coffee that was keeping them.
Well, we don't know.
I have no idea. Actually, I say that. Actually, I have no idea. So we're going with Colombia on this one. We're trying to go with the middling roast for most of these coffees.
Plus, it said it was the classic. So
it is. Yeah, that's true. Okay, it might actually be decent. What else do we need to know?
Is it raining?
Is it raining?
I think it's actually raining.
It's actually raining in Southern California. That's new. I like that.
No, I mean
although it hasn't been good for my tomato plants.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry. I'm just gonna complain about that.
No, it just so as Nestle as a whole, as a brand, they have such far reach of like who is involved in their like business family. They have over 2,000 different brands that fall under Nestle. So
how many factories does Nestle have for their Nescafe?
I don't know. Do you actually look that up?
25.
That's a lot.
25 coffee production facilities with over 8,000 employees.
Wow.
Which is a lot lower than I would have thought for both of those numbers.
For Nestle overall, they have over 270,000 employees, and they have a presence in 188 countries. So.
And Cafe Bustello.
I couldn't find a lot about them on their website. It's more like, hey, you want to buy this stuff, and do you want to know how to make a cafecito or a champorado?
What are those words?
So cafecito is like a Cuban coffee.
Okay.
So it's just how they prepare it with like the sugar. And champorado is usually like a breakfast drink. It's it has like masa in it. So it's
I don't know masas.
Like corn flour type stuff.
Interesting.
Well, it's like a breakfasty thing. It usually has like think of like a Mexican hot chocolate, but with more oomph, more body.
More oomph. Okay, yeah. I like it. Okay.
So they had that, but I do
know
that.
What is the country? Do you know the country of origin for Cafe Bustello?
Yes, it's from New York, actually.
What?
Yeah.
So all right. Well.
It's named after the founder Gregorio Bustello, who was originally from Spain.
Okay,
he traveled a bunch, like in Latin American countries, including like Puerto Rico and Cuba. Came up to like East Harlem, New York. 1928, he founded the Cafe Bustello kind of brand. Basically, it's about utilizing Latin flavors for the masses.
Okay.
And that's all I really found out about. They didn't have a lot about their history too much, but they have a whole page for merchandise. Like you can get a baby onesie that's like Cafe Bustello colors.
You know what? If it's worth it,
I'm kind of excited.
We've got friends and a sister with children.
Yes.
Although I don't think my niece would fit into a onesie anymore.
No, she's
getting huge. But anyway, okay.
That's about it.
All right. Let's take a quick moment to cut. And we'll try this in a second. So we're starting with the Nescafe. We've gone over the smell, the look, and the color, I guess, of the granules themselves. But now the coffee. Actually, it doesn't actually smell bad. It smells like coffee. Look, of what we've had so far, okay. It could go terribly. So that's the Nescafe. This is the Cafe Bustello.
Yeah, it
It
smells palatable.
Yeah.
Please don't say that about
Tell me what Cafe Bustello smells like to you. Because I have a word.
What?
Melted plastic.
I don't know if it's that severe.
I didn't say no. I'm just a hint. It's just a hint of plasticky to me. Do you not get that?
No, I get a weird like.
What?
It smells like ham to me.
Ham? All right, look. This is. We're not. We do this because it's fun for us and we want to compare.
It smells like salty somehow and...
Salty ham. All right, we do this because we want to have some fun. We like to do this for ourselves more than anybody else, as evidenced by the fact that we've done this for almost 6 months and only have 39 followers.
Okay.
Thank you for our 39.
Thank you.
But I clearly not professionals or sommeliers in any way.
I mean, we're definitely not going to be working at a perfumery or something.
How's a perfumery? A place
Like
where
a
they make
perfume.
perfume?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds terrible. It's like working like a Yankee Candle.
No,
I mean, if you
like-
like working, that's fine.
No, but
I just don't know how you
there
can do
are
it.
people that have such like they can detect the nuances of scent.
There's a lady who can actually smell. What was it?
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's.
Right?
Yeah, you've heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Anyway,
So maybe she would have been an excellent person
Coffee
to make
sniffer?
perfume.
I mean, I feel like the work she's doing for sniffing out Parkinson's is actually probably
It's actually
more important.
But
than
I'm just saying,
perfume.
if she got tired of that, she could
Sniff other smells. I guess sniffing BO from like Parkinson's patients is probably not the best.
I don't know. I don't know. There's like a weird animalistic. I don't know.
Animalistic smell. Smell the animal.
I don't know.
All right, so Nescafe. I can drink it. It's dry. At least it's a dry feeling afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a light mouthfeel, but like my tongue is actually a lot drier. The flavors.
Like I feel like if you're gonna have this, you're going to need a glass of water, like we do for, palate cleansing.
Yeah.
But you would have to have this with something else.
I would even, and I don't do coffee with sugars and all that, generally speaking, with one exception, and I dunks coffee with a little cream of sugar.
Yeah, but that's just classic.
That's just, yes. That is how I grew up. A pinch of sugar in this, and I can actually see this being, and again, just a pinch.
Yeah.
I see it being perfectly palatable. Now, another trick you can do, especially at diners, is you can actually take just a little pinch of salt and mix it in with your coffee, and it often makes it more palatable. There's a place in just outside Boston, this place called The Neighborhood, which is amazing for breakfast, and a pinch of salt in their coffee makes it fantastic, and I don't know why. And you don't taste the salt at all, but it does even out the flavor of their coffee, whatever they use.
Well, it evens out like the bitterness.
Yes.
So.
Okay, there you go.
No, it's not.
I can drink
Out of the three
this.
that we've tried so far,
We're not retching.
we're not retching.
Your stomach's not turning.
No.
This is palatable. Then, so far, that's the highest praise you can get. Palatable.
But it's
It's not
like
good.
sucking all the moisture out of my mouth, though.
This, yes.
So I
often have my coffee in the morning. Always have my coffee in the morning with a biscotti of some kind too. So I do like my biscotti. You go first into the Cafe Bustello.
Okay.
I also have a complicated relationship. Not complicated. I hate Nestle generally speaking, because of their opinions and practices on human rights.
You know, it's interesting because they have gotten a lot of flack for that in the years. So they're back in the packaging also says like it's grown respectively, but they also have full pages where they're talking about how like they're trying to be very conscientious, that they're trying to hire people in the countries where they are farming.
40% about 40% of the world's coffee comes from Brazil, and then a lot come from other places too. And unrelated, I like that these are both made out of glass.
So maybe they are a little bit better tasting.
But the issue that coffee has is very much the issue that chocolate has, and that it comes from the poorest places on the planet, and it exploits the poorest people on the planet. What percentage of people that work, families that operate the coffee farms are at or below the poverty line? What percent of people are at or below the poverty line who harvest coffee?
I'd say 85%.
You're very close. 80% of all of these beans are at or below the poverty line. And that is something that could be solved with these mega corporations that own these farms or work with these farms. They could just pay them more. I mean, and that sounds crazy because they want to pass the savings on to us, but 80%.
See, that too, like, it's...
Oh, wow.
It's not bad.
That's extremely light.
Yeah.
And it doesn't dry out your mouth.
No. There's, like, a
Does not-
weird... So, you know what? Maybe when I was drinking it, maybe this is attributing to that weird, like, smell that I said, was more like ham or something. But
smell.
I think it's because there's, like, a savoriness that I'm tasting.
No, that's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's not bad.
I mean, good. I shouldn't have said good. It's
relatively.
Not bad. Yes. Okay.
Like, if you're needing a caffeine fix, which one of these would you have?
Oh, the Bustello.
Yeah.
So far, of all of these, all four of these, I would say they still taste like it's 1960 and you're a child and you take a sip of Dad's coffee at 3 a.m. before he goes into the mill, and this is the stuff like the black liquid he drinks so he doesn't fall into the machinery and die. Like
that is so
it's dark,
imaginative and dramatic.
Yeah, but this is what it is. This is the stuff that like Dad choked down because he's like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna lose my arm in the mill or whatever. This is what this is. It's not. None of this is. It's not overly pleasant. It's not overly
these
enjoyable.
are at least drinkable, and then also there's something to be said. So this one does say espresso instant coffee, so it is supposed to be a little bit more of an espresso feel compared to this one that's just like a drip coffee.
Interesting.
Ish.
Okay. I'm on board. All right, Bustello.
Okay. I'd be interested in trying their ground coffee.
Yes, actually, very much so. Okay. We've got one more coming up, and then we'll have our final thoughts, which, I mean, we've been kind of giving thoughts throughout.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
We'll see you then. There you go.
And we have our fifth and final instant coffee, Starbucks Via. We decided to go with the Columbia roast. Now, there's a lot of roasts that Starbucks offers. The most common one is actually their Pike Place, which is their medium one.
Yeah.
What do we know? Oh, we went with Columbia, though, just because it matched the name of the other one, Columbia. And I've had Pike Place in the past, not just instant, regular brewed coffee, and I despise it. So, I don't mind their Italian roast.
You're trying to give it a winning chance.
I am. But I don't mind their Italian roast, which is their second darkest, or their French roast, which is their darkest. But what do we know about Starbucks or
in general?
Starbucks Via?
Well, Starbucks has been around since 1971. It was, based
out
in
of
Seattle, which everyone knows. I mean, Pike Place is actually where
the place was at.
Yeah, that was where their first shop was.
Yeah.
So, the instant Via line that they have, I guess, has been around since 2009. But fun fact that Starbucks at home, that kind of brand, so like the ground coffee, the Via Instant, who do you think owns it?
I think I've read it. Nescafe? Nestle?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. As far as I know, that's been the case since, I think, 2018, and I don't have much more information other than now it's part of the Nestle family.
Interesting. Okay.
I thought you'd be more outraged by that.
No, I'm not surprised.
You're just
I think
disappointed.
I read it on the box, and I think I know. So, Starbucks, I think, is known for using more Arabica beans than Robusta beans whenever possible. The difference being they're the two most predominant coffee beans in production or what have you. And the big difference why we use Arabica beans more is because ultimately it actually has the most consistent caffeine content. It actually has a good bit less caffeine, about half as much caffeine as a Robusta, and you can think of that being Robusta, more robust coffee. It's also a little bit softer on the palate and a little bit sweeter by coffee standards. Now the problem with Arabica is that it's actually a lot harder to grow. It's much more susceptible to pests and a good bit more susceptible to changes in the climate, temperature, and so they're actually having more and more trouble growing Arabica beans. So by incorporating Robusta beans, which some companies do or sometimes use exclusively, and I don't know actually what any of these mix of the blends are for these, but the problem with using Robusta is it's inconsistent. You'll get 1.5 to 5% caffeine per bean, or within the bean, as opposed to 0.8% to 1.2% with an Arabica bean. So that's really the reason why we do it. But as it's getting harder and the climate's changing to grow Arabica beans, they're looking for alternatives. Fun fact number 3. There you go.
It's like that was 6.
It was 6 unless I got nothing. Anyway, these come in a little...
There's only 8.
There's only 8. So we'll do some price comparisons later. They come in these little convenient packages, which is fine. So 3 seconds before we started filming, Katie tore it where it said tear it, only to realize that it didn't tear completely, so I had to use some scissors. So not the most intuitive. But this is nice because then you can take it with you, I guess. Throw it in a lunchbox or something. We'll see. 100% Arabica, supposedly, on this.
I mean, It's not unpleasant of a smell.
No, I can deal with it. Make sure I'm not missing any.
Did you smell?
I did smell. I do smell. It smells.
It doesn't smell as
Maybe do I smell? I smell sweaty to me. Maybe I'm sweating. I might be sweating. We turn off the air conditioning when we film, so you don't have that humming. Although I've missed in a few episodes, and sometimes at the beginning you can hear it. But maybe I'm sweating. It smells sweaty.
And it's not my perfume, right?
It's not. No, your perfume smells pretty nice.
Okay.
So.
I don't get the sweatiness.
I might.
Smell
I
like
might
a
just
little
be
bit of bitter.
Bitter man sweat.
No, just a tad bit of like a bitterness, but that's typical with Starbucks for me because like they over roast their.
So that's the other thing,
beans,
and so if you go to a store and you say, "I need to wake up, give me the strongest coffee you've got." Oh, well, we'll finish this thought in a second.
No, it's not bad. It advertises on the back of it. It says Columbia toasted walnut and herbs.
You know what? I get that. I actually get that flavor.
Like the herbaceousness?
Even the walnut.
No, there's a nuttiness to it.
Yeah. So this is okay. You know what? This actually has nuance. Actually has flavor.
Exactly. I was gonna say this at least has something going on. It also has a fuller mouthfeel.
Very much so.
I mean, if given, the opportunity to have either this instant Kia or to not have coffee, I would say
take it.
I would take this.
Yeah.
Like, it's something I can drink.
It still needs something. Like it's not very good on its own. And I think that's something consistent.
What would you have with it?
No, I don't mean like food. I mean like
sugar
a pinch of sugar, a pinch of something, maybe the salt to balance out some of the bitterness, but something to help balance it because by itself it's still not great. Like I like black coffee I like our espresso from our mocha. I like our French press coffee, and I'll just drink it black, and that's fine. And
but there's an extra bitter aftertaste to it that you need to balance out that you don't typically get when you're having our mocha pod, or if we're just doing a French press. It doesn't have that.
And that Starbucks, even when you go through their training course, they do say French press is generally the best way to have coffee, and I am inclined to agree. Pour over method is a little too. I don't know.
Laborious?
I guess, yeah. Like that's too much.
I think I'm
not
patient enough.
Yeah, pour over is not all that different from drip coffee in my mind because the method is basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
Or uses gravity to just push it through.
Well, isn't it also though it takes more time for it to actually bloom the grounds?
Yes. So now when it comes to roasting coffee, people would come up to me when I was selling coffee and say like I'm tired this morning. I need coffee. Give me something strong. And I would always offer them the lightest roast we have for a very specific reason.
Because it's the most caffeine.
When you roast your coffee beans, or when they roast coffee, whoever roasts coffee beans, the more they're roasted, the darker the blend, the more the caffeine actually gets cooked out of it. And so it's actually something that's possible too. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these instant coffees had less caffeine because they were technically already cooked once and then evaporated and cooked a second time.
That's possible.
To dry them out. But a blonde roast, for example, would actually have a lot more caffeine than a dark roast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, compared to espresso, like a shot of espresso, even 2 shots of espresso is not going to have the same amount of caffeine as an 8-ounce cup of coffee. Adding a shot of espresso to your coffee, sure, that helps, but if you actually wanted a whole bunch of caffeine inside of you, you'd have to just drink like 8 ounces of espresso. Saying like, I'll just take an espresso, I need a lot more energy. Espresso is a lot more concentrated, but it does not contain that same amount. Fun fact number 4. So, okay.
We've had quite a bit of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that should not even be labeled as coffee.
This is true. What time of the year is coffee usually harvested? What month?
There's a specific month?
Pick a season.
Spring?
No.
Summer?
No.
Fall?
Yes. Good job. Around October.
One of 4 chances of
So coffee beans kind of look like little cherry tomatoes, or the coffee plant looks like a little cherry tomato. Fun fact number 5. And you harvest them. There's a whole bunch that grow on a branch, and you would just grab them and pull them all off, and you wait until they're like this bright, partially deep red color. And then they peel that, they dry them, and then the coffee bean comes out.
Don't they usually do it in just like outside with the sun, and then they have these like
they layer
tarps or something?
Basically, yeah, and that's basically how it's done. Another fun fact, because of the extreme poverty that these families are often subject to that harvest this coffee. Guess what else is a problem in these countries these families that harvest coffee? Much like chocolate. What else is a huge problem?
Child labor.
Child labor. That's a problem. It's a huge problem. And I have opinions, but it could be dealt with, at least to some extent, better than these companies are presenting themselves as, oh, we're trying to be. I don't believe it. Anyway.
Do better.
Honestly, do better. You know what? My coffee is important and I enjoy my coffee, but if it has to be more expensive because it's not worth human life, so be it. Anyway.
So on that very profound note, we will gather our final thoughts and then we will rank the 5 that we've
I have my ranking. Do you?
I think so.
Okay, this should be nice and easy. We're not going to have to sample all these again because no. Absolutely not. All right, final thoughts. Right. Did you enjoy this episode?
No. I mean...
I did not. It was... I taste all this coffee.
Well, at least now we know for sure.
It's true.
Because, I mean, I don't even know if I've ever really had instant coffee until today, so...
Yeah.
It was a learning experience, and hopefully you learned something too.
Like what it looks like when things taste bad to us, like the facial expression, like, ugh.
No, not just that, just how poorly we are at describing some of
this tastes atrocious... like ham and plastic.
No, but I still stand by my, that there's a savoriness.
Yes, no, and that's fine. Yes.
So, but for some reason it smelled like ham to me.
So, okay. Are we ready to rank these?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. I think we're on the same page here. Give me your worst. We'll pull these back.
Okay.
And our best will be to the left or to...
Which?
Whatever.
To our
the
left?
The best is here. So, and the worst we'll put down here as we usually do.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
As the worst?
Okay. I'm with you.
Okay.
Maxwell House. You know, these are both terrible. When we added the extra teaspoon, I feel like the Folgers got worse. A lot worse. So these are both awful, and awful to a point that I'm not willing to try another cup to make sure which one I really think is the worst. These are terrible by a mile. Okay. Then.
I have to sneeze.
Gesundheit. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Are you done?
Yes.
Were you always a double sneezer?
I don't know.
Oh. I'm a double sneezer. But that's all you get. 3 sneezes and that's too much.
Okay, then Nescafe.
Nescafe, I agree. It's a little bit further from these.
Well, yeah, but it's
palatable. It's drinkable.
This is where it starts to become drinkable.
Yes. Now, I feel like Cafe Bustello and then the Via.
Yes.
These, I think, are a little bit closer for me.
Agreed.
This one's more centered. Okay, yeah. No, I'm 100% in agreement with this. The Via has more nuance to it. You can taste the nuttiness, so kudos on that end. The Cafe Bustello is fine. I feel like you want probably a pinch of sugar to go with it.
Yeah, agreed.
Similar with the Nescafe, although interesting again, same company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all I can taste is like coffee. Let's talk prices. So we'll leave these nice and even here to make it easy for me to put the prices and then price per serving approximately on these. So do we have them do you have this stuff in order? Do you want to start this way? This way? What are we doing?
We'll go from
Folgers, Maxwell
Folgers to
okay. Folgers. You have. Does it tell you? It doesn't actually tell you how many servings are in this.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, 120.
Yeah.
Okay, so 120 servings. Folgers is
$6.48.
$6.48. The Maxwell House has.
What should say it?
It should say it.
No, I thought it. Yeah.
I can't read. Does it not?
It doesn't.
Oh wait, how much? What's the weight of that?
It's 8 ounces, 226 grams.
So it should be 120 as well. Okay, so we'll say 120 servings on this, 120 servings on this, and
so,
How much is that?
Maxwell House is $4.88.
Okay. 85 servings in Nescafe. How much is that?
Or $6.67.
Okay, so we're looking at a slightly worse price on this one per cup serving. And with our Cafe Bustello, we have, I'll do the calculations later. This is 3.5 ounces, 100 grams. Is how much?
$9.89.
Ooh. All right, and via 8 servings.
$8.49.
Ooh, God. Starbucks. What? My God. Okay.
I mean, maybe you're paying for better roasting, or you're just paying for the name Starbucks. Who knows?
You might actually be paying for Starbucks. Okay. What else do we need to say? Is there anything else we need to know about these brands? I'm checking my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Not that I can think of. I'm going to have to really think about how I want to incorporate some of these instant coffees into, like, baking. You can also use them for like dry rubs and other things of that nature.
These two are so bad that I don't think, even if we find a recipe for them, that I'll be using it or incorporating it. These are salvageable. I could even drink a bit of the Cafe Bustello if I'm feeling really lazy.
Yeah.
And I need a bit more.
That said, I still think you're right that there needs to be a little bit of a sweetness or something to kind of round out the flavor a bit. But these 3 are definitely palatable. We will use them.
Yeah. You know, I also make tiramisu often enough, but I'm still going to stick with my 3 pots of mocha for that rather than actually using instant coffee for it, because I think the flavor, it's just too important of a flavor to throw into a tiramisu. But we'll find some other recipes, and maybe one day we'll actually start recording more of these recipes. We have one you can find in our shorts, but that sounds weird. Find in our shorts section of YouTube. Don't go searching my shorts for recipes.
I don't know why that just makes me think of Bart Simpson.
Eat my shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. That's it.
Not to be confused with Salute Your Shorts, which is also a great Nickelodeon show. Did you see that show?
No.
Salute Your Shorts?
No.
Camp on Awana, we hold you in our heart. And when we think about you, it makes me want to fart.
No.
Sing it right or pay the price or something.
When was that on?
I don't know. I was a kid. It was on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
Anyway. I don't know. That was just unpleasant.
So, I mean, as we mentioned, there are lots of different instant coffee brands that you may find in your local grocery store or maybe something online. So if there's something that you think that we should try or, be aware of, or if there's a preparation method that you think is a little bit better.
I thought you were going to say preparation H. I don't know why.
No. Preparation method, because a couple of these also say, substitute the hot water for milk. Would that actually have made a difference in the flavor?
Maybe we'll try it. Outside of this, and leave a comment below, and maybe we won't. Who knows? But there's a lot more, and we'd like to try it. And admittedly, instant coffee is probably the worst of the coffee.
I mean, you're doing it for, to get a quick fix, right?
Exactly. So, if there's a better instant coffee, or if you'd like to see us try this with the actual coffee grounds or beans, we actually have a coffee grinder, we can do all that.
Yeah.
Let us know. We'll try that. Fun fact, caffeine also often acts as a diuretic and actually can sometimes help you go to the bathroom. True or false, it doesn't matter if the coffee is decaffeinated or caffeinated, it still has the same effect on people with their morning bowel routine.
I think that's true.
It is true. It doesn't matter if the coffee is decaffeinated or not. For some reason, it still actually affects people the same way, regardless, if it affects you in that way. Another fun fact is decaffeinated does not mean non-caffeinated. There is a difference.
Correct. It's just the certain amount of the threshold.
Yes, they've removed a significant portion of the caffeine, but decaf is not non-caffeinated. It still has caffeine. Decaffeinated tea still has caffeine. Interesting, right? One more fun question before we close out for the night. As I mentioned, it is a diuretic. How many times in the 40 or so minutes it took us to film this did Rob have to go to the bathroom to take a break? 0, 1, 2, or 3 times, folks?
3. 3 times.
3 times. Between each take, just about, I had to get up to pee. So there's also that. Anyway, as always, you can find us at KR Compares on Instagram or at rjpfilms.com/KR Compares. Please remember to like, subscribe, tickle that notification bell.
It's just something about your gesture. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Katie. Take care.